Okay, good. So, opening question. How many salespeople do you have in your company? Let's go around the room and introduce yourselves and answer the question. Okay, Eric.
We have, I'm Eric Latucci, Hunter Digital. We have two, myself. We've been doing sales since day one, and we recently brought in a partner who does full-time sales.
And how many people in your company? 8. Okay.
So 8 people, everyone knows my company. No dedicated sales folks, but 3 people that wear the sales hats, including myself.
Okay.
Fujimura, amateur AV guy, and
Right.
CEO of...
Maybe put one in front of it. Maybe put one of the yeah, exactly.
Thanks. This is just memorialized in this video forever, my total incompetence.
My wife will be so happy.
Yeah, okay, great. So, how's that angle?
It looks good.
All right,
Yeah.
nice.
His head's not
We solved
chopped.
it.
Do I have
CEO.
hair?
Sorry, I can't help you there.
We'll work on that in post.
Okay.
I'm CEO of Cantilever. We're a website design and development consultancy. We have 1 salesperson, which is me.
And how many people in the company?
8 people total.
Good.
Actually 7
Okay.
as of today.
Great.
Yeah.
I'm Lindsay Zachpal. The company is American Pride Fasteners, and we're manufacturers of precision components and cold form fasteners.
Cool.
And I have one in my finger.
All right. Cool.
And I've got 27 employees. I've got 5 salespeople.
Great.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah. What a boss.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Linda, you just kill it.
That's so cool. Okay, great.
Is that including yourself?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I do have to do sales.
I'm Tony Dolce. I'm the CEO and founder of Purple Critter Media. We create strategic media content. It's myself and my husband that are the salespeople, and then we also have a freelance staff of additional 5 people.
Go ahead.
And then we have like 12 other auxiliary people that we hire.
Okay. So, I am Marc Schwartzberg, and my company is OFH, Office Furniture Heaven. We do office furniture and office design. We have about 16 people in the company, and we have 16 salespeople. So the right answer to the question is, however many people you have in your company, every one of them are salespeople. So that's the way we start the meeting today. Okay, and we should all, if you have nothing to take away, take that away. And try to get your company to everybody to think like a salesperson, because whenever they answer the phone, whenever they meet anybody, whatever they're doing, they have to keep in mind that they represent your company and they're a salesperson. So the oldest gentleman in this photograph is my grandfather. His name is Nathan Dalek. He started an office furniture company in New York City at 534 Broadway, between Broadway and Prince, between Spring and Prince on Broadway, before World War II. A gentleman with a mustache is my late father. He came into the business after World War II, and the little guy with the striped pants is me, and we're standing in front of the Western Wall. My dad died probably 2 years after this photograph, so when I was a very young kid.
Wow.
And so I went into the family business that was run at the time. I went to Queens College 3 days a week or 2 days a week. I worked in the family business called Dalek Office Furniture. Nathan Dalek, that was my grandfather's name. And then I went to Parsons School of Design at night at age 19. So that's my background, and I've been in the office furniture business since. So I'm 50, will be 57 next year, 35 years doing the same thing. And we design and furnish offices in New York City. The family business had a deep implosion in 2008. We filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, had 4 kids in private school in the city, was divorced recently, and now I'm here and I'm thriving. And I am not a speaker. I'm a regular guy like you. And I'm an EO member. That's really been a very important part of my business, personal and professional growth. I joined EO about 5 years ago, and I had the good fortune of being in Rich's forum. And if you don't know what EO is and you don't know what a forum is, we should talk more about that later, but it's really powerful stuff. And Rich, I would say fairly, Rich was having a little was struggling a little bit with marketing, and
Still am.
and
Coming around though.
in my forum, there's me and Mark DeRosa. We were kind of better at sales and marketing than the rest, and there was an opportunity for me to present. And was it the last meeting that we had about a month ago? I
Yes.
gave a similar presentation. I changed it up a little bit for you guys, and I really enjoyed making the presentation. And so Rich said, why don't you come and bring it to you guys, and you guys are like me, I'm like you, we're learners, we thrive on getting new information, and that's what we do, and we love that. I just wanted to share this photograph. That's my Uncle Godfrey, my late Uncle Godfrey, my mother, who passed away 2 years ago at age 94. This was her baby brother, Godfrey, and he passed away like a year afterwards, and he was a tremendous mentor for me. And when I said there was this family breakup with the business, implosion, that happened in 2009. There was a family breakup in the 70s where he was part of the family business too, and my two brothers bought him out in a contentious buyout. And he was out of my life for a period of time, not because we had any tension, but because I was with my brothers in business and he was like outside of the business. Anyway, because I didn't have much of a relationship with my brothers, I looked up Godfrey, and it was around the same time that I joined EO, and he really taught me a lot about running a business. And number one thing that he taught me is I'm a sales guy. I've always been focused on the top line, and how am I'm doing $8 million in sales, $10 million in sales. And Godfrey said, focus on profit. Focus on profit. So I look at this picture, I miss him dearly, and I used to go down to Florida and bring my P&L and everything, and he, no faxes, no cell phone, and we'd sit down, and I would have all these numbers. Where's the bottom line, Mark? What are you going to do for the bottom line? So that's a little bit about me. So I have this presentation is divided up into 3 parts. First thing is about marketing strategy. Traction. Who knows about traction? If you have, raise your hand. Who has studied it? You got it? No. Okay. A little bit. Okay. I got books. I got these business books up the wazoo. Okay, I got them all. I've been part of EO. You get them. They have you go to the speaker, the whole thing. This is my Bible now. Okay, the part of the presentation I'm going to go through now is about marketing, and there's so many different books you can read about marketing. There's so much out there. I'm going to give you just a very simple version about how to get a better understanding of your company. Pages 35 to 45 in this very book talks about core values. I have core values in my company. Who has core values in your company? Who has established that yet?
You did in class.
You did in class. Has it been part of your company, and have you been able to integrate it as part of your company?
Slowly.
Starting to get
Okay.
there.
I highly recommend you do this. It's a worthwhile exercise. I've done it with my company. I've actually this is the second iteration now. I'm about to introduce this to my company. So this looks pretty cool. I made it, this is like hot off the presses for me. Mm-hmm. So we're a creative company. We're inspired. We have good design. We're forward thinking. We're resourceful, flexible, and adaptable. We have a can-do attitude. We believe there's a creative solution to every problem. We believe in excellence. You have to be meticulous, distinctive, and detail-oriented. Otherwise, the furniture doesn't get delivered, and it's wrong color, and it sucks. Synergistic. We work as a team. We're collaborative, and we're empathic. And the last thing is we're curious, we're inquisitive, dare to know, and eager to learn. Marketing, what does this have to do with marketing? This is really not out-facing, this is in-facing, but when your company has good core values, it makes everything else a lot simpler. Next thing, core focus, pages 46 to 52. Now we're getting a little bit more into marketing. What is the core focus of your company? Okay, I'll go right, oops. So in the terms of traction in EOS, break it down into two things. And these are more on the high level ideas. The passion is to help people, and my company's passion is to help people and companies thrive. And the niche is designing and furnishing offices. So think big and then narrow down. Okay, I'm showing you my examples, and I hope that will be helpful for in your company. But it's all very clearly defined in Traction, and I think it's worthwhile spending time and understanding it. And this is, you've learned this shit in Goldman, right? You've heard all this before. I guess I'm telling you that it's worthwhile to do the exercise and let it sink in. Then they have this idea of, in the vision component, what is your target market, your list, and the ideal customer. So you really want to drill down here. And the way it works is you have geographic characteristics. And for my company, I say, who am I looking for? Where are they? They're in major metropolitan business districts in the continental United States. New York, tri-state, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, California. So try to get as focused as you possibly can. Then the next thing is the demographics. So I'll tell you about my company. Who are they? In the industry, it's real estate, nonprofits, hedge funds, financial services, education, banking. This was a big one for me, less than 150 employees, so I narrowed it down a bit. The type of business, and this is all, you answer the questions, and this is how you get to where you need to go. Because once you have all these answers to these questions, then it's going to be much easier to know how you're going to get your clients. So obviously I go business to business. And then we getting more focused, companies whose leases are ending within 3 to 6 months, and companies that have just signed new leases. And then the other business opportunity is landlords that furnish offices for new tenants. Then you get into psychographics. You guys must have talked about this in Goldman, psychographics of your customer. Have you gotten into that?
I'm not sure we did. I mean,
Really?
the first one we did, yours was super granular. They
Right.
talk about it, but I really like the granularity of yours.
Right.
But I don't recall psychographics.
Okay, so psychographic is really good. Okay, this is great. I'm glad I'm introducing this to you. You want to work with your team or yourself, but the more people the better, and really understand who is the buyer. Okay? And you want to get not only who is that buyer, what does that buyer think about? Where does that buyer shop? Where does that buyer, what makes them happy? What is their pain? You want to get really into that. This could take a long time to get to. And the sooner you know that, the sooner you're not going to waste your time on the people that don't fit that person. And you're probably thinking to yourself, well, there's no one person, right? I got like this kind of person or that kind of person. Of course, we know that. But it's really helpful to understand who the thinking of that person is. And that will be very helpful for you to focus your marketing. Good morning, Ben.
Morning.
He knows all this stuff. I think Ben can teach this. There's no doubt about it. I'm just talking about psychographics. Have you gotten into psychographics, Ben? The real target of your customer, what do your customer thinks like? What is in their head?
Avatar.
What?
The avatar.
The avatar,
Yeah.
exactly. The persona. That's what we're talking about. So I put a lot on this. I don't like to slide with a lot of words, but I'll just read it through so you understand a little bit. I was not able to get one person. I have 3 essentially, and I don't know if I put all 3 in this slide, but let's just talk about the business owner and the decision maker. How do they think? What do they need? What do they appreciate? Ben, please correct me if I'm wrong, because you know this better than me, okay? They appreciate attention to detail. They want things done for them. They want it done yesterday. Our clients want a high level of service, and they're not do-it-yourselfers. They want style, but not too much style. They have expensive taste, and they have the means to make the purchase, but they don't want to overpay. Okay? They want a deal. They are cost conscious. My clients, this is not their first office. They don't have a facilities department. The staff members are busy working on their regular stuff. They wear a Rolex. They have an iPhone. They golf, they work out, they like to go out to dinner to nice restaurants, they have a lot of interest outside the office, they are successful, They live in Manhattan or a wealthy suburb, and this you may not like. The decision maker is usually a male. Okay. For a hedge fund, there's usually a 35. That's something else. Okay. They drive a Mercedes, a Lexus, a Porsche, Acura, a BMW, or a Tesla. That's the psychographic. If I see that guy, or if anybody in my office sees that guy, we're all over them, because that's the one. How about you, Ben? What would you think about that guy?
I think it's great.
Right.
Yeah.
Granular for sure.
The other thing is, just one thing to just point out on the last thing, they wear a Rolex. Like when you attach fine details to them, they read the Wall Street Journal, whatever it is. It
Yes.
also informs all your other
Yes.
activities, your promotions,
Exactly.
and associated.
That's where we're getting to, exactly. So I'm Mark, what's your name?
Cynthia.
Cynthia, hi.
Hi.
Okay, it's all on video, you can catch up later.
Okay.
Okay.
We only started about 10, 12
Right.
minutes ago, I think.
So I do the same thing for, I skipped one. So I do the same thing for the assistant to the decision maker, because that's another one of these people. A lot of the, when you read the book, they really want you to get to one, but it's really hard, so I cheat a little bit. Okay, so then there's the facilities personnel. So the fact is that this guy who works in the facilities, I'm thinking more and more, I don't really want that guy anymore. So because that guy, he knows too much, and he's gonna buy it better, or so I like the guy that's a little different. So that's what really helps in being granular. It's as much as who you want as who you don't want. Okay, what's next? So I'm going through, just to catch you guys up, this book Traction, which I'm a really big believer in, and I'm just pointing out some really important parts about marketing. So the next thing is your proven process. This is a great thing that I just implemented, and I'll share it with you. We all do the same thing with our customers every time. And if we don't, we should get to that place where we have a way that we deal with our customers. And then what you do is, once you have it with Traction, what Gino from Traction advises, is that you spell it out so that everybody in your teams knows what it is, and not only that, but your customers know what that is, so that they know what to expect. So, for example, in my company, and I just pulled this out, we have the OFH way, our proven process. So every customer, with every project, we listen first. That's the first step. We understand your needs, we visit your space, and we evaluate your floor plan. The second step is we create. We always create a PowerPoint for all our customers with images of every piece of furniture. We always make a floor plan for their space, and we always put a proposal together of what they're gonna get with a line item of every price, every time. And the third thing is, it's never right? You always have to revise it. You always have to go back and do it again. So we collaborate. So we listen to what they have to say, and then the next thing is we have to deal with the architect and the construction people and the 1,000 other, the telephone guy, the data guy, all those people. That's the collaborate part. Then we get the deposit, then we prepare. So internally we order it, we get everything ready, and then we deliver it finally, and we install it, and then the last thing is we follow up. So this is the process that we do every single time. So when we meet a customer, and the first time we can say, this is what your project's what's gonna look like. And it's really, really simple. And then anybody on the team goes, well, where are they in the process? It's really, really simple. This is a critical part of having this. So now if you think about this what we're talking about now is marketing. If you have this as part of your system, and everybody in your company knows about it, it's a really great marketing tool. And you go out and say, this is our proven process.
And Mark, let me ask you, within that process, is there tools that you use to manage it, or where are you housing all the information so that it's usable throughout the process?
Well,
Or is it in the salesperson's?
No, nothing's in the head, everything's, look, you heard the story where I had the family business implosion. For a period of time, I was in a room in a Virgo business center, which I happen to have furnished them. That's a place like this, and I furnished their offices, and I was selling $1.5 million worth of furniture by myself with nobody working for me. Then it was all in my head. Now, and I've been doing this all these years, so now we're in 2019, almost 2020. Now I'm trying to get it out of my head and get it on paper and get it in computers and get it in systems and get it in processes. It's very hard for me because I'm a gut guy and I like to do it myself. But now the goal is to get it all out there. And that's what this book is really helpful with. And the sooner all of us can do that in our companies, the sooner we will be able to scale and grow. Because when it's in our head, we won't, it's not gonna grow.
But you do have an operating system.
Yeah, I have a thing called eManage, which is specific for the office furniture industry. And I got Sam in my office who knows how to make it work. And we have people, it's now 3 years that we're using it, and it was a bear to get it going, and now we can't live without it.
And I have a similar system called ConnectWise, and it is a bear to implement. But we have a saying where ConnectWise purports this saying, which is if it's not ConnectWise, it doesn't exist.
Right.
So an operating system kind of immortalizes this
Right. In your
this
company.
process, and
Right.
it structures it. It gives it, definition. It gives it quality control. It gives it a lot of
So that's a separate,
substance.
it's really a separate topic because
Right.
process and all that other stuff, and I'm not really good at that. Rich kicks ass at that shit, but he doesn't know jack shit about sales and marketing.
I don't.
Listen, this is the second time.
Thank you, Mark. This is recorded?
This is the second time he's heard this, and maybe he'll listen to 1% of it, I know. Trust me, he's gonna always go to the process shit, and I'm always gonna go to the sales and marketing shit.
That's why we need each other.
I know,
Yes, sir.
exactly, that's why
Yeah.
EO Forum is amazing. Okay, and that's why I'll say this in front of the camera, and I want everybody knows, I love Rich. I learned so much from Rich, because Rich is here and I am here. We are total opposites, and the truth is, if it wasn't for EO, I'd stay over here and he'd be over here. And with EO,
What is the acronym EO? What is
Entrepreneurs Organization.
that? Ah, okay.
And I happen to be the New York chapter membership chair.
right,
Never even.
And one of the things we don't do is solicit, so it's
Yeah.
kind of hard for me to promote it
we
when
don't.
I'm not supposed to solicit.
questions.
But
Anyway, let's
highly
go.
recommend
I
that.
gotta go back to work. I gotta
We'll talk about it
People
afterwards.
are ready to kill me today. Okay.
Furnish this out.
Furnish this out. Your guarantee. So some of us in our businesses could have a guarantee. If your screw breaks, we'll replace it or something. It's really hard for me to have a guarantee. It's optional. I didn't do it, but that's one of the things they talk about in marketing. And if you have a guarantee, think about how cool it is to be marketing. Okay, now do this quickly. This is not a book about marketing. This is a book about running your company and processes. But I believe firmly that the things that I just outlined, if you have that, it really helps. It's really powerful. I can't talk about sales and marketing without talking about Jack Daly. How many people know Jack Daly?
Oh yeah.
Who knows Jack? Okay, you don't know Jack if you don't know Jack. Okay, so I love this book. I think it's one of these. It's simple. It's easy, and he talks about how to, old-fashioned sales and marketing. I'm going to get into that a little bit later. I have, thank God, 5 children. I have a son-in-law. I have a daughter-in-law. And my youngest child is going to be 6. And I spend a lot of time with a 6-year-old, okay? So those of us who have small kids, you start to think a little bit differently. So this is the second time around with small kids. I'm going to give you my sales and marketing approach right here, okay? This is a piece of cardboard. I get my shirts folded, not on hangers. I bike here. We compost at home. I'm very environmentally conscious. I'm using this because we don't throw away any of these. Okay, here's my sales and marketing idea. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is a flower. I believe that everybody in this room has to have 8 petals on their flower. These 8 petals are people that you want to build strong relationships with. Ben is one of my petals. Okay? I like Ben. I think Ben likes me. Okay? I need him because he knows people who move offices. Right? He is the top of my food chain. When he's a hustler and he's out there trying to get people to go to him. So I want people like Ben in my petals. I want designers and architects. The people who are these petals, it takes a long time to build these relationships. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes years. And you want to get to different, you're at different levels of that stages. First you meet them, then you get to know them, then you work in a couple of jobs together. And the goal is to have 8 petals. Some people say, well, I need 50 petals, I need 100 petals. We're humans, you can't have that many. You could only have 8, I think. This is a thing called Sandler's sales method. I don't know if any of you guys heard that. This is part of, I learned this, I made this based on Sandler's sales method. So I have a couple of real estate brokers. I have a couple of designers. I have a guy from Goldman Sachs. This is my golden ticket. Goldman Sachs loves to build hedge fund, wants hedge fund clients. What is that? Is the name, what is it called? There's a thing that they do for them. I forget.
Prime brokerage?
Thank you, prime brokerage. So this guy, Tom Smikowski, who's now retired, and his replacement is called Adam. Tom Smikowski, when Goldman wants to set up a hedge fund, they do the prime brokerage for hedge funds. So they offer this service. They say the Goldman guy, the sales guy says, you talk to Tom, and Tom will give you the furniture guy, will give you the design guy, will give you the real estate guy, will give you all these things that you need because Goldman wants these people as clients. So it's a concierge service. So Tom Smikowski, now Adam, is one of my things. These take years. Now, life happens, they retire, they move on, your business fucks up, you make a mistake. You can't always have just 8 petals. You have to have a couple of petals that are, gonna be there just when it happens. Now, how do you get your petals? The dirt is all those people that are on your list, all of them, and you're always trying to put more people on your list. The rain is your marketing, right? You market on this. These are all your people. And then there is the sun. And that is your word and your credibility and your company brand. And that is my very, very simple way to do marketing. So Jack Daly, that's that portion. Next.
Much better than the president.
Yeah, I know. Having a Sharpie is like, all of a sudden using a Sharpie is really not good anymore. All right, that's what I was thinking of. Finding new and staying in touch with prospects, referral partners, and existing clients. Okay. I meant to ask the question first. The question is that I blew it. So, what is your most important tool with finding clients and getting people? And my answer is your website. Your website. Your website.
Invest heavily in the sales channel.
That's all.
I missed that. I was meant to, before I clicked on it, I was supposed to ask the question. I'm sorry. Okay, can we rewind with the tape now? So, your website. So the main thing is your website. So the screws and the fasteners, you see I got that? I was looking at it. It's cool. And Rich's website. So you really want to do everything you can to make sure your website is doing good. So what do you do with that? So the first thing I talk about is keyword search. You guys know about SpyFu? Anybody know about SpyFu? SpyFu is so great.
My world.
That's your world, okay? But you guys should know about it. I don't have a guy doing it. We do it in house, but you should know about SpyFu. SpyFu is the tool that lets you know what your competitors' key search words are. It's great stuff. So it's intel. It's what it is. So you want to know what are the key search words in your world and who's good at it, who's not good at it. Get yourself some SpyFu. Constantly update your website. Your website is not a static thing. You got to be putting new pictures on. You got to be putting new words on. You got to be updating it. You got to spend the time and do that. You can outsource it to somebody that does it, or you can have somebody that's in-house that'll do it for you. Next thing, blog. Content is king. So we'll talk more about blogging, but you've got to do that. I love what the stuff that Ben puts out there. He's working on it. I'm proud of it, Ben. You're doing great with it. And you just keep doing it and you plug away at it. And that's what you got to do. Some of us maybe have fear and have anxiety about this, Rich. I don't know, some people do. We don't forget about it. Get it out there and move on. Content is king. Okay, so email marketing. Full customer list. So this is what I do at my company, okay? So we have a customer list of about 6,000 names, give or take. They get one email a month. Targeted emails to key referral partners. So our architects and designers, sometimes our real estate brokers, some other key referral partners, they get targeted emails to them. Here we go, real estate brokers, architects and designers, existing clients with leases coming due. So these are the people that are part of our targeted email. Then we have drip campaigns by salespeople. So each salesperson has a list of people that they're working on, or different, or they have building the connections with. Maybe some of these people that are trying to be where they are in the stage of building this flower, they're getting targeted emails.
Just explain to them what drip is, so they understand.
Okay, I'm in the office furniture and office design business.
No, drip, what drip marketing is.
Oh, what drip marketing is. So we use, MailChimp. We use MailChimp. So MailChimp holds all the email list, all the emails. I'm not really the most sophisticated on this. I think people use, HubSpot is very good with this, and people use Salesforce for this stuff. We have our own little way that we work it, but essentially the drip is a more personal email from the salesperson, and it's like, hi Dave, and it kind of feels like it's from the salesperson, and
so
it's not as big and broad.
Right, so there's newsletters that goes to everyone that's very broad. Drip will be based on what they've done at your company. Right. So if they go to your website and they're doing things that they've spoken to the salesperson, right, making sure they have different messages based on that.
Right.
But it could also be prospects that haven't done work with you.
Yes.
And the concept behind the drip is every periodic amount of times, let's say once a week, they're getting something that's of a nugget. It has a hook and it has a value to it. You're giving them education is typically done,
yes,
right? And it could be anything. It doesn't have to even be on your business. It could be something current
right,
affairs or something like
right,
that, but they'll read it and they'll still feel value.
Right.
And then so that's the key there. And then as you're dripping, every so often, eventually, they might need something and you're
right,
top of mind now
right,
because you've been dripping them all that time.
Right. So what else we got here? So we have clients in the pipeline, right? Okay, then let's talk a little bit about content. So there's Facebook, there's Twitter, there's Instagram, there's LinkedIn. I really don't like any of this stuff. So what are you gonna use for content? How are you gonna figure out what you're gonna do for content, right? So Goldman 10K small businesses. You guys just went through a premier program and you got juiced up with a tremendous amount of information. There's how many people in New York? 8 million people in New York, and how many people are potential clients of yours? And how many people have been through your program? A couple thousand, I don't know. So you have so much nuggets, so much information that the world doesn't know about. You guys it's coming out of your ears, but the rest of the world is dying to hear it. So that should be your first, it's like a no-brainer, slam dunk. I just did this, I learned this, the stuff that I'm talking about, whatever. Send it out there. That's the first thing that you should use for content. Then I wrote down EO topics because I'm a big EOer, entrepreneurs organization. It's the stuff that I'm getting all the time. And just put it out there. Share the knowledge, share the information. And then I go my interests. So I happen to be a triathlete. I happen to love going to museums. I'm involved with Jewish causes. So those are things that you want to be authentic. You want to bring out there, and hopefully you bring some good to the world too when you're doing it. And then this is the best one. This is really the best one. Remember this one. What are my clients asking? Always asking. Okay, ask you guys know in your business what the clients are always asking, and that obviously becomes a great topic because people out there need to know that. So, and you can ask your team, what are some of the questions that people are always asking? Do you delivery? What do you do for installation? All these, and then you send it out there. So that's a great way to create content. Avoid being too salesy. And then Rich mentioned this before, the expert Rich. Educate your prospects. Educate your prospects, clients, and referral partners. So you want to you want to give education. That's what I think is really a critical thing about content. Then I'll toss out some other terms. A/B testing. I'm not really great at this, but when you're doing emails or you're doing different campaigns, there's a way with technology to try it 2 different ways. Everybody here know about A/B testing, or no? You don't know about it. Some people. Who doesn't know about A/B testing? Who needs to know? So A/B testing. So you send out an email. One email has this big picture of a flower, and another email has a picture of a desk, and one says, "Do you need this?" and the other one says, "You need that." So there's 2 different ways of doing it. Now, remember, I'm a very big believer. I'm an endurance athlete. This is not an overnight thing. So you start with one campaign and you try 2 things, and you see which works better. And then you go to the next one and you try 2 again. And then little by little by little by little, you find out what works for you. Is it better if we send it on a Tuesday at 3 or at a Wednesday at and you see all these different things. So that's a way to learn A/B testing. Use interns. Right now we're near Baruch. We're near FIT. We're near Hunter College. We're near Pace. We're near NYU. Use interns. They need education. They need training, and we need help. All this stuff takes a lot of time. So that's the other thing. And the last thing is set realistic goals. You got to set goals bit by bit. I never thought I would be sending out emails once a month. 3 years ago, I never thought I would be doing all this stuff. Little by little by little by little, it all happens, and then that's the way this stuff gets done. So these are some of our goals. We wanted to increase web traffic in 2019 to 17,000 unique users. Increase goal-to conversion in 2019. That's people who click on our website and say request a quote. So our goal was to have 300 requests. We're doing really well on all this stuff. Social media, we have 3 posts a week on all platforms. We have 6 new projects on our website. We send 1 email blast per month. We blog twice a month. I have 4 personal LinkedIn posts per month and 1 LinkedIn article per month. So these are the realistic goals that we set for my company, and we're hitting them. I don't do any of this shit. Robin does it, and she started out as an intern scanning documents, and now she's part of my team. She's my content coordinator or something, but she's really good at it. Now, hand-to-hand combat. This is what I like, okay? So I'm really a person-to-person kind of guy. That's what I thrive on. Less about the technology and more about hand-to-hand combat. So speaking engagements, become the expert. Here I am. Okay, so you get out there and speak. I'm also, in my world, there are these conferences for offices and office interiors and all this other stuff, so I'm getting out there. I didn't have to pay for this, but some of them you have to pay for. It's part of marketing, so I think that's a really big part of hand-to-hand combat. Trade shows. I know for me, when I go to a trade show, I go to take in information. So some of you may have businesses where you can go to a trade show and it could be a good marketing opportunity. Usually it's not for me, but that's sort of a thing that people have that's good for them. Networking, givers gain. So I'm in BNI. I know a bunch of you guys are in BNI. I believe that networking is really, really good. It's good for your mind. It's a good way to get out there. So I think that's a really important part of what I call hand-to-hand combat. And then do breakfast, lunch, coffee, and drinks. So some of us would rather sit in our office and would rather send out an email or pick up the phone. I think it's really important. Vern Harnish, who's the chief of EO, he says, never eat lunch alone, ever. So get out there, do breakfast, do lunch, do coffee, do drinks. I think that's really important, and I actually sometimes enjoy it. Okay, so building a sales team. So that's so in my company right now, I'm the CEO, I am the design director and the marketing director, but I'm also the sales manager. So there's a whole part of the traction thinking is how you lay out your company, and eventually I'm going to start to give some of the roles away to other people. And one of the roles that I want to give away soon, it's expensive, but I hope to get to the point where I have a sales manager. But I have been the sales manager of my company for the past couple of years now, and I think I've learned a couple of things, so I want to share that with you about building a sales team. So, the first thing is to do hiring. For hiring, I'm always looking for salespeople. When I go to a B&I, for many years I was going looking for customers, but now when I go to a B&I, I'm looking for salespeople. So you mentioned that you know somebody is a competitor of mine, and like I used to say, oh, she's a competitor or whatever, but now I'm thinking to myself, wait a second, if she's good, you know, maybe she could come for me, and what do I have to do in my company to get her to work for me? So if I'm looking for a customer, the customers are great, they'll do some things. If I get a salesperson, they're gonna get me lots of customers. So it's a mind shift in thinking. So I'm always looking for salespeople. Setting up a bench. I'm gonna let you in on a secret, Ben. When I first met Ben, he was on my bench. What does that mean? Like, the bench is people that could potentially be on my salespeople. And they may not be able to be my salespeople now because they have a great job, for 1,000 reasons. But over time, something may change in their lives. I don't think that's ever going to change with you, Ben. I gave up. You're off my bench. That's it. But when I first met you, which was a while ago, I said, this kid is good. But so the idea is that you have to think in a different. It's playing chess a little bit. You know, who am I meeting, and sort of keep a list of those people. Stay in touch with them, and you know, life may happen that things change, and you want to always be thinking about who could be on my team. This is a great tip, not just for sales, but with all people, that you want to keep them on your bench. Now, when you're the sales manager, you have to always motivate your team. So how do we do that? The first, I have meetings with my salespeople. When they're new, I meet with them daily. When they're I got George, he's like, you know, 3 or 4 months in, I meet with him 3 times a week. And then when they're seasoned, I meet with them once a week. And the first question, they all know it, that I ask whenever I get into the meeting is, how can I help you? That's the first question. So in the beginning, they don't know what to say, but then they realize during the week, they think about, oh, Mark can help me with this when I meet with him. So it's a great way to be a boss. You know, how can I help you? That's a great thing to do when you're a sales manager or any kind of manager. So regular meetings individually and as a group. So I meet with the salespeople. I give you my time where I meet with them individually, and then as a group. Now we're meeting every other week. And then we have monthly meetings. So that's really important. I'm a big believer in meetings, and that's definitely part of the traction methodology is meetings. Training, always giving more information. I have my manufacturers train them, I train them. You know, that's really critical. And KPIs. So I've been working on this for a long time because I said in the beginning I'm more of a by the gut kind of guy, but really having KPIs is really important. So I'll take you through some of the things that I have with that. So this year I've implemented what I call stretch goals. So every salesperson has a goal for the amount of sales. And over the past, what I've done is I said, let's say your goal is $1 million in sales, and then I would give them a bonus for the $1 million in sales. This past year I was giving out $8,000 a quarter because everybody was meeting their goals. So I got smart. So now I'm going to have stretch goals. So let's say instead of $1 million, their goal is going to be, I'm going to have internally the goal that I expect for them to be $1 million because that's what I'm going to run my books off of. But I'm going to have for them, they're not going to know it's a stretch goal, but their goal is going to be a goal higher than I expect them to do. So it's going to be, let's say, $1.2 million. So they're only going to get that bonus if they reach the stretch goal. So that's a little tidbit that I learned from doing this. It seems elementary, but now hopefully I'm going to, they'll strive a little harder, and I'll also help me with accounting internally because I don't want to. Those stretch goals are not going to be the goals that I'm going to use for my budgeting. And then CRM system is critical. So people love Salesforce. It's expensive, but people really like that. I don't have Salesforce. My CRM system is part of my eManage system that's particular for the office furniture world. It's hard to deal with this stuff. It's very confusing for me. I guess for some people, it's not as hard, but it's really critical. So that's part of the process thing, but you really need that. So here's some of my KPIs. Oh, I haven't even put it for the guy's name, David Cashner. So orders booked, and this is very, very detailed. His goal is $1.1 million. Invoiced amount. So I look at things two ways: invoiced and booked. Invoice is what we actually bill. A book is when we get the 50% deposit, and an invoice is when we actually deliver it and bill it out. Then we have contacts added. He has to get 20 contacts per month. Networking and industry events, he has to go to 4 networking and industry events per month. Continuing education, we do like lunch and learns and that kind of stuff. So he's got to do he has to have a lunch and learn with 6 or more attendees for a year. Marketing drip campaign, he has to make sure that he doesn't have to do the drip campaign, but he has to work with Robin to get out his drip campaign. 2 per month. Lease expiration dates. Now I'm trying to track lease expiration dates for my clients, because that's my ticket to recurring revenue, because we all want to get into recurring revenue business, because then we don't have to work every day and we can go be on a boat. So they have to get 90% of their customers, they have to track the lease expiration dates, and then referral requests. So they send out a follow-up email saying, they have to do that 2 per month. So these are my KPIs that I've set up. This stuff takes so much time to do. I mean, this may get overwhelming. I don't know where you are on your trajectory. It takes a lot of time. This is we're in this for the long haul. Okay, I'm about to close this out. So, people do business with people. What do you say?
No, like my trust.
This guy, he's got it. They like, they trust, that are positive, and this is my favorite one, that get shit done. That get shit done, okay? They do business with people that get shit done. So now this is my best advice. I look Rich in the eye. Start now. Start small. Don't stop. Okay? That's it. I have these, like I said, I'm not a professional at this at all, so I had these printed up. It would be really helpful for me if you would fill it out, and if you want, you could do it anonymously, it's fine, or if you want to share your feedback, that would be great too. And do you have any questions? Any thoughts, comments? Yes?
That was awesome. I had a question about with the pedal metaphor, and you mentioned the 8 people. I think that makes a lot of sense. I've been thinking about that too. I'm just curious, like as you scale your business,
Thank you.
you need those 8 people to be delivering potentially more volume of work. Like how do you kind of scale your network as you scale your business?
Great question. I thought about it. I'm one person, and I could only be one flower. So now I'm the sales manager. And what I want to be as the sales manager, I want to look out onto a meadow of flowers. That's the way I'm thinking about it. So, and then the other thing, the way I was thinking about this is that the petal goes from white to, let's say from white to yellow to green, right? So the white petal is, you just put a name on there. The yellow petal is the petal that is, you're working them and you're building the relationship. And then the green petal is like, I have this nice relationship with them, and it's, it's a great relationship. So most flowers, they're gonna have some whites, some yellow, and some green, right? And you're doing it for a while, and you build it, and you have a flower with green petals. And then as the sales manager, I wanna be looking out on a whole meadow of green flowers. That's my dream. And but so now what happens also for me, the other thing that I really don't have the time now to take care of the customers as much. I'm doing a lot of other things. So now what I do is I give other people work and other business. So I can't really have many more than 8 relationships. There's just not enough time in the day, and they have to be meaningful. So you give it out and you get more people to do it. It's a way of delegating and elevating. That's another theme. Okay, I can give my pedal to somebody else.
Quick follow-up there.
Yeah.
Do you consider your existing customers sort of eligible in that pool, or are your existing customers sort of a separate category in your mind when it comes to
I love
your
this. I
network?
love that question. It's great. I love it because these are things that I was thinking about, and I think about this in the shower in the morning. This is like, this is exactly what. So the idea is, I start now. I have certain clients, like the Mitch Davidsons of the world. There are certain clients that are just they're givers and they become fans of yours. And the answer is yes. Yes, the answer is an absolute yes, and you want to be careful with it. But there's certain people that they're just they're great fans, and they're connected, they're connectors, and you want them to be pedals as well. Yes.
Cool, thanks.
That's great.
Very good.
You wanna pass your cards?
Oh yeah, sure. Here you go. You can just pass them around.
Mark, Emmanuel, Mark.
And
We recorded this,
We know
so
each other.
yeah, hey,
You
doing?
remember?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sure. So, one story, I want to share this nice story
Okay,
with Ben. So, years ago, when I was my family business was in this process of imploding, we were meeting with a lawyer, and the lawyer said, I was with my brothers at the time, you guys are involved with this synagogue, and you're not getting a lot of business from the synagogue. You should really call up some people there and seek out some business. It was when business was really tough. So the next day I made a couple of phone calls, and one of the calls I made to was this guy, his name is Ezra Merkin. He was very active in the synagogue, and he was saying, well, I know these people, blah, 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 and I'll make some calls on your behalf. And he said, one of the people that he said was this guy named Ira Renner. I don't know if you know that name, but he's on the list of the privately held companies. I think he's like number 10 on the list. It was in Crane's, this most recent list. And he connected me, even though I knew Ira, he connected me for his office move. As a result of that, I did Ira's office, full floor in Rockefeller Center. It was about $1 million job. It's outrageous, just like this guy's very, very wealthy, and it was just really a unbelievable job. I met Ben because Ira's son-in-law needed his office done, and Mitch called me up, and I helped him out, and it was not nearly what Ira's office was, but it was a nice office, and Ben was at another company at the time, and he was hustling, and we took care of Mitch, and Ben didn't know about me, I didn't know about Ben, but we were just doing our thing the way we do it. And so since then we've maintained a nice relationship. But the reason I'm telling you this story is today I'm going to get $1 million order from a company called Schoenfeld. They're a hedge fund kind of company, and that was referred to me by Randy Wynn, which is Ira Renner's other son-in-law. So I'm a big believer in networking, and you have to do the right thing, and you have to be good at what you do, and all that's important. So that's I'm going to take that order today. So it's a nice story. All right, guys. Awesome. I have tremendous respect for everybody here in this room. You guys you're learners. You're seekers.
We get shit done.
We get shit done, and love to continue the relationship in any way we can.
Thank you.
We'll come out of here.